What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, party people? It is your boy, Coach D Brown, former big leaguer, former first round pick of the Kansas City Royals. And man, I'm joined, man, and we was just talking behind the scenes, and I'm just talking about how blessed I am to be in a situation where these D1 coaches over there chilling and having time to be streaming and looking at video and doing different things over here where I could reel them into the show. And B, I get to talk to some of my guys over here. Like, I'm gonna tell a little story. So, out of HBCU schools, there's a handful of them that I'm like really a fan of, right? And this school right here in particular, all right, Grambling State University. I've been a fan since I was 5 years old. All right, my coach Coop don't know this yet. So back in the day, all right, the Grambling State football team used to go play up in New York every year. They used to go play in this called the Whitney M. Young Classic. All right,
right. At Yankee Stadium.
Started in Yankee Stadium way back in the late '60s, and then in the early '90s, right around the time I was about 12 or 13, they moved out to Giant Stadium. But when you talk about, check out how much Grambling meant to me, right? So I used to say in my mind, if I don't become a college football player or a baseball player and at a major D1, I want to go be a drummer on a Grambling State marching band. All right, that's how much the Grambling marching band meant to me. All right, so Grambling's been a near and dear to our family. My niece's dad played football at Grambling, so we used to be there in attendance as a youngster. So anyway, without further ado, man, that's how much Grambling means to me. So I'm very excited, very happy to have Coach James Cooper of the Grambling State Marching Tigers. I see marching, right? You know what I'm saying? Fighting Tigers. All right, Coach Coop, man, what's going on, brother? Good to have you on, man.
Man, glad to be here, man. I appreciate that introduction, and I also appreciate, how, Grambling has touched your heart, man. It touched my heart at an early age also. I have some lineage as far as Grambling is concerned, man. My Sunday school teacher, his name was Wilbur Flanagan, and, he's still living to this day. He attended Grambling. He's a big-time Gramblingite, and he was the first guy to play both ways for Coach Eddie Robinson back in the day. Now, You got to resonate. So back when he had to go to, back when he was in college, that's when schools were segregated. So all the best black talent, they couldn't go to a LSU or a Clemson or Ohio State. They had to go to an HBCU, and he was at Grambling. And that just goes to show you how good of a football player he was if he was the first guy to play both ways for the legendary Coach Eddie G. Robinson. And my Sunday school teacher, that man poured a lot into me. He kind of poured that black and gold into my soul, and eventually I decided to come to Grambling, and I became a Grambling Tiger.
Listen, man, Grambling is just one of those, and it's funny. I went last summer. We played in a tournament in Louisiana Tech with my showcase team last summer. Or was it 2 summers? I can't remember. 2 summers ago, and I rode by, and I was like, wow, this is what Grambling is. It's a small town. I'm like, man, I love this school, but man, it's in the middle of nowhere. So speaking of, I ain't gonna disrespect. Listen, I love Grambling. All right, that's near and dear to my heart. But for my people listening in, where is Grambling? All right.
All right, Grambling State University is in northeast Louisiana, and it's in a town called Grambling, Louisiana. That's where Grambling State University is located. We're 3 miles away from Ruston, Louisiana. That's where Louisiana Tech is. If you're traveling on the interstate, on Interstate 20, Grambling is off of exit 81. Louisiana Tech is off of exit 84. So that just shows you how close in the proximity we are with another university. There aren't a lot of, eateries and things to do a lot of shopping at in Grambling, but we have Ruston, who is extremely close, which is, 3 miles away. We have Shreveport, which is 45 minutes away, and we have Monroe, that is, 25 to 30 minutes away. Monroe is where the University of Louisiana Monroe is located. So you have 3, Division I universities within a 30-mile radius when you consider Grambling, Louisiana Tech, and also ULM.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's right, because that tournament we playing Louisiana Tech and at the University of Louisiana Monroe. So cool town. I had a good time. It was, I'm just kind of, you you just have this thing picture in your mind of where these schools are, man. I was just like, oh, they go Grambling, oh, that's what's up, So
and we get it all the time, man. The international brand that Grambling has doesn't match the size of the town.
Right.
I think that's where a lot of confusion can come in. That was some people when they first get introduced to Grambling.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that international brand, I mean, this is one and again, testament to Eddie Robinson, Hall of Fame, football head coach. The marching band is known as the, listen, I loved it, what I'm saying, growing up. I'm still a fan. I'll go on YouTube from time to time and still look at the band and what they doing over there, and I'm in my damn 40s, you know what I'm saying? So I wanna kind of go back, and if you could kind of give my listeners, man, and let me get a little shout out. We got a lot of people on, man. You're a hot item in that Grambling, man. I tell you that Grambling, man, and I tell you a lot of good things going on with it, and we're gonna get into that. But shout out to Lawrence. I got Florida in the house. Hobby was good. Arkansas in the house. Jansen, Cali in the house. What's up, Jake? Mississippi in the house. What up, Russ? Jersey in the house. Jose, what's good? Pierre, what's going on? Philly in the house. All right. Sega, what's up? Baton Rouge, Louisiana in the house. Coach Eaton, what's up? Florida, Isaiah, Florida in the house. Chipper, Nashville in the house. Didi, what's up? North Carolina in the house. Jay Meyer, what's going on? Wisconsin in the house. D Rob, what's going on? We got Cali in the house. All right. And I know we got a bunch of more guests on here in the other channels over here. All right. What up, James? What's up? All right. Want to make sure I hit everybody else before we get into these questions. All right. All right. Shout out to Raymond. Shout what's up to Tony Miranda out there in Cali. What up, Jimmy out there in Waco? All right. All right, cool. I hope I didn't miss somebody. AD, what's up, baby? AD, what up? AZ in the house. All right. Shout out to my Royals coaches. We got big, we got major, we got professional coaches up in here today. Keenan, what's good? Arkansas in the house. What's up? What's up? All right. I just gotta get that out the way. All right. So we got this story football program. About this baseball program you got going over there, Coach Coop, man. You know what I'm saying? Tell me a little bit about this program, man. How long, I always have my guests coming from back in I want to know your story, basically your history. I know you're a pro guy too, so I want to hear that whole story. Where you from? I mean, you told me where you're from, but I want to hear that playing career to where you are now, bro.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, I'm originally from Cullen, Louisiana, small town north of Shreveport. It's about an hour from Grambling. I attended Grambling State from 2000 to 04. I was drafted by the Houston Astros organization, played 3 years in that system. After I got released by the Astros, I played another year of pro ball in the Can-Am League up in Sussex, New Jersey. That's where we was based out of. So, we had a chance to go to Canada and play all up and down, those New England states as well. After I finished that last year of pro ball in the independent league, I decided to get in grad school and start working on my master's. And while I was working on my master's, Coach Barrett Ray, he was the head coach at Grambling, and he heard I was in town working on my master's, and he invited me to come, be the GA. And I didn't even know what GA stood for back then. I didn't even know it meant graduate assistant. And he was like, man, why don't you come be my GA? And I said, man, I don't know. I had just got out of pro ball. I was just kind of getting back into that classroom setting because I had been out of it for a while. And he wound up calling me back, and I said, all right, man, I'll do it. And he had a nice little sales pitch, man. It wasn't really like a sales pitch in a negative way. It was just about, hey, man, you're an alumni of this school. You played at this school. Why don't you come and kick some of that knowledge that you learned from playing pro ball? And also the fact that you were successful when you was here, you can help me get this program, where it needs to be. And you can also pour into these young student athletes' lives, whether it's something that they can learn on the field or off the field. And I did that for him, and I did it for my university. And I was his GA for 2.5 years. Going into his third year, he made me the number 2 assistant. And then after that year, he took the head coaching job at Alcorn State, and I applied for the head job at Grambling. This is 2009, 2010. And luckily that year, we both made it to the championship. And my first year as head coach, I beat my mentor in the championship game.
No.
And, I know, right? Yeah. And lo and behold, that was 2010. And then in 2011, he won a championship at Alcorn. So,
nice.
say that, he poured into me and we was able to get a championship. And then, of course, he won one right after that. And I've been the head coach at Grambling for the past 11 seasons now.
Good for you, man.
Absolutely. We've had, a boatload of guys that graduated with the undergraduate degree. We've had a boatload of guys come back and get their master's degree. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've had 9 guys drafted over the past 11 seasons. We actually have one of our former players as a scout for the Chicago White Sox. Another one of our former players is a developmental coach for the Philadelphia Phillies. And then we also have another one of our former players who works in youth baseball for the Atlanta Braves. So, when you talk about getting guys ready for life after baseball, we've been able to do that. We talk to our kids a lot about, being student athletes. When you look at the clock that you have to be a professional or a college baseball player, that clock expires a whole lot quicker than, most people are accustomed to. So we have to be ready for life after baseball, and I really like to think and believe that, we have myself, Coach Pierre, and our administration, and also Coach Ellis, who I played for, who we keep around, who does a phenomenal job of, getting us ready for, some type of speed bump or pothole that we might encounter, on this road to success. That he has given us things to, better ourselves and also to better the student athletes that we have. And then it also put them guys in positions to get the jobs that they have. And, we've had a valedictorian as well. Like, a couple of years ago, one of our baseball players by the name of Jalen Heath was the valedictorian of the graduation class. And that's and that's a fraternity of itself. And that's also one of our biggest accomplishments. And then, moving to the fact that we've been able to be pretty successful as far as, winning games, getting guys drafted. I was able to be selected to be one of the coaches for Team USA Baseball. And, I've had an opportunity to work with, a 16U group, a 18U group, and I was scheduled to do another 16U group, this summer, but, it got shut down due to COVID. But, with all that being said, I couldn't have did all that on my own. My supporting cast with my family, my supporting cast with my administration, and most importantly, my supporting cast with my players, because, I can't go out there and win a game. I can't go out there and make a play, hit a home run, make a pitch or whatever the case may be. So with those guys going out there, and sacrificing their body, and their minds, to go through what they went through, we've been able to, reap some of the benefits of, what their hard labor has brought for us.
No doubt about it, man. And I mean, y'all grinding and I don't sometimes I don't know. I guess just being in this baseball world, you hear different things, this and that. And I was telling you behind the scenes how much, people have been talking about Grambling, what I'm saying, as far as an option, a great place to play, great coaching staff, right? And that's a testament to you. Obviously, you have created a great culture there, where people outside of, like, again, I have never, at that time, I hadn't met you yet, but you got ex guys, pro guys, right, that are bigging you up and talking highly of you. Is that obviously that's something that the culture that you have, you have built there at Grambling. Where does that come from? Where have you taken the lessons learned, obviously, from your college career and the coaches you did, there? How has that your pro career, help merge all the lessons and stuff that you're able to give to these young brothers, that's on the team,
Well, I'm from the South, man, so I would like to call it's like a big pot of gumbo, man. You got a bunch of different ingredients that go over in whenever you're making gumbo. And, you talk about the culture and like some of those lessons, it was poured into me from, my family at home, my mom, my grandparents, my Sunday school teacher, Coach Flanagan, my high school baseball coach, Coach Mosley, his wife, Miss Mosley, who was my second grade teacher, Miss Stephanie Weidman, who was my 9th grade English teacher, who I think, she caught me at a time of my life when I was a 9th grader where I was trying to figure out who I was. And I like to think that she might have been the teacher that poured the most into me when I needed it the most. And we're still friends to this day. I'm like a son to her. And on top of that, my coaches that I had here at Grambling, mainly Coach Ellis, man, and Coach Randall. Coach Ellis put a lot into me, man. Coach Ellis is really a builder of men. He's not really a builder of baseball players. And, when he get the men where they need to be, then they tend to listen to him as far as the X's and O's as far as the fundamentals of the game of baseball goes. And I like to think that has been his approach to get guys where they need to be in life. And that's been an approach that we've been able to use. So when you mention the names to me, like, Wilbert Ellis, Stephanie Weidman, Wilbur Flanagan, Denise Mosley, Bill Mosley, Wayne McMahon, the list goes on and on. The Roseberries, there's a bunch of people from, my community, from back home. And all of them aren't black, some of them are white. And I like to think that, color didn't play a part in it. It was the fact that, they had learned something and they wanted to teach what they had been taught. And that's also been a philosophy that, I try to instill in other people. We must teach what's been taught.
Yeah, well, I know I lost a little bit at the end, a little technical difficulty, but you're back now. So, listen, man. So, let's get into the school, man. All right. A little bit about your roster, recruiting. Like you said, Grambling is a national, brand, especially when it comes to the HBCU schools, man. So from when you out there recruiting, I know Louisiana is a great state, but it's heavy competition when it comes to talent. You just said right in your 25-30 mile radius, you got 3 Division I schools. You got
absolutely.
You got Louisiana Monroe. You got you have New Orleans, Tulane. You know what I'm saying? Southeast Louisiana. A lot of guests on the show too. All right, so you got all of that. Countless schools over there. I ain't talking about Southern Louisiana area neither. So. When you're competing for kids and all of that, are you kind of strictly sticking to that Louisiana, talent base, or are you going outside of it?
No, we like to recruit them all. We don't have a set place where we just like to go often. We want to go find the players that fit our program the best and also our style of play the best. We like to play what we call fast break baseball. It's like a high up tempo, get the ball and let's go. We're trying to advance and get to the next base. We're trying to find a way from home plate to second base. And if we're at second base, we're trying to find a way to home plate. And also when we're in the dugout, and then the third out is made, we want to storm the field like those soldiers storm the beach. So in a sense, we want to play the game fast because if we can speed guys up, we can make them uncomfortable, especially if we're used to playing that fast. Now, as far as recruiting players goes, it doesn't matter if they're from California, Canada, New York, Louisiana. We want ball players and we want game-changing ball players. We want guys that can change the game by, the way they run the bases, the way they throw the baseball, the way they throw their breaking ball, the way they locate, the way they play defense, the way they hit the ball. You want guys that can change the game when the ball comes their way, and you need game-changing guys to make game-changing plays. And that's been our philosophy. And, when you start talking about how and where to find those players at, we like to go to Texas when we're looking for power arms for the most part. We like to go to and it could be stereotyping, some of these areas. But that's where it generally, you find it at. We look for athletes to come out of the state of Florida, the state of Georgia, Louisiana. We look for pitchers out of that Northeast area who don't have, a lot of innings on their arm because of the weather and the climate that they play in. They don't get a chance to get out as much. So I think all that, plays a factor. California has been a place to, where you can go find guys that have a defensive first mindset, guys that generally like to play the small ball and guys that are accustomed to that. That's also a place where we go for players. So I think there's a wide range of where you can find players at, in the Midwest area, man. You find like those country strong guys, and same thing in those country rural towns as well. And then also, man, you want to focus on trying to find some inner city toughness from guys from certain areas, whether it be inner city New York, inner city Chicago, LA, whatever, Cincinnati, anywhere in Florida, whatever the case may be. So, there's a gift and a curse that goes along with, both sides, but, you need some guys that can, weather the storm and be a fox for you in that foxhole.
All right. I mean, you naming all parts and you kind of naming the personalities and the positive stereotypes and some of the negative of those areas. Do you think, again, obviously you played ball, but if you think you didn't play professional ball, I know college is giving you a bunch of kids on the roster, but I don't know how many times you're traveling way up to different parts in Northeast and this and that when you're playing at Grambling. I could be wrong. Like I just told you they were playing football up in New York. But
Right.
playing professional baseball, you get to see those different parts. I want to know, Florida got speed and them country strong Midwest dudes and the laid back, cool swag Cali guys. If I didn't play baseball and get around the country, do you think that has helped you big time?
It has, man. Being in the locker room, with like some of these select teams that I played on back in the day, and being in the locker room with all the guys at spring training. And you've been to spring training. Spring training is where you get a chance to kind of see everybody in the organization, and you kind of get a feel for how guys act and how they react to certain things based on where they come from, whether they from out of the country or whether they're from the States. And, that has also given us, myself and Coach Pierre, a keen eye to look for those certain things from certain players, from certain regions from across the country and also outside the country. And it kind of hits the nail on the head. Like, you generally find kids with some toughness that come out of the inner city. When you go into a rural or a country area or a Midwest area, you tend to find kids that seem to have like some country strength to them. When you get to a place like Florida, sometimes Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, those guys in Georgia, those guys tend to be a little bit more athletic and more of a natural athlete. And like you mentioned, like some of those guys from California have that laid back kind of that surfer guy, that surfer dude mentality sometimes. And then you'll meet somebody from the New York area that's super energetic because they got that boogie down Bronx in them, so to speak. Or that Brooklyn bounce in them as well. So I think it varies, but it also gets guys ready for the world because the world itself is diverse. So if you can have a diverse culture in your locker room, if you can have a diverse culture in your classroom when you're just going over X and O's, as far as the fundamentals of the game go, it gets guys ready for life after baseball, and also it gets them ready for life in baseball because baseball itself is extremely diverse when you get to the professional level as well.
No doubt about it, man. I love that. I love that answer, man. Let me get some of these questions that's coming in. All right. Shout out to Keenan. How many scholarships does Grambling have to work with each year?
It varies from each year. Now, for the most part, we have been given 11.7 scholarships, and that's the full allotment for Division I baseball. At the Division I baseball level, baseball is a partial scholarship sport. We don't have like the 15 full ride scholarships like basketball or women's basketball or volleyball has, and we don't have like the 95 scholarships that the 99 scholarships that D1 Division I football has, and we don't have the 68 full scholarships that D1 AA has. But we all have 11.7. It's been sometimes in the past where we didn't have our full allotment because we had some budget cuts going on in our university or in our ULS system. But for the most part, we have been equipped with our 11.7 scholarships.
All right. Let me get here. J. Maya says, "What's the size of Grambling?"
The size, okay. The town of Grambling probably consists of about 2,000 residents. The university this past year, I want to say we had 5,200 students. We haven't done a official count yet. We're 2 weeks in, and we did opted to have like a hybrid system, which you see most schools and colleges and universities going to these days with the COVID being out there. And we have had some students to elect to do virtual learning, so they stayed at home. We did have some students who opted to not come to campus in August, and they'll be here in September. So, I'm not too familiar with what our numbers are right now, but definitely, Jason, I know this feed will be out here for a while, and I'll definitely be able to send you a post and respond to that question, after we get an official count. But we generally hover between 4,700 students to about 5,400 students each year.
I would thought it'd be bigger than that for some reason. I didn't know that, All right. Let's go with Yvette. What up, Yvette? Thanks for hosting. Coach Cooper, thanks for taking the time to be here and answering our questions. Question: how do you get all the different personalities to mesh together and become a team, especially when they're competing for starting positions?
Well, I think a lot of the icebreakers that we use in our team meeting settings helps guys understand who guys are and where they come from and why they act the way they act, and also why they react the way they react to things. I think when you create an environment where everyone can be themselves, like you don't cookie cut guys, like we don't cookie cut personalities here at Grambling State University baseball, and we don't cookie cut these guys by position or about with their skill. Like we don't make these guys all do the same thing. I think that can make guys become more robotic, and then it also can, lean to guys not being able to be themselves. I think when you allow guys to, be themselves, and when they get a chance to meet one another, it allows them to understand that, we're here for a purpose. One is to get an education. Two is to win 3 championships. That's our goal. We want to win a championship on the field. When we win the Western Division, we want to win a championship when we win a tournament. And then we also want to win a championship in the classroom where we have the highest team GPA in our conference. Now, through my tenure here, we've always had a chance to go 2 for 3, but we haven't went 3 for 3 where we had the highest GPA, we won the West, and we also won the SWAC. So that's still a feather that we haven't put in our cap just yet. But, when you start talking about the diversity of the locker room and then also guys competing for that same spot, if you can have them see and have something intangible, if you can deliver it to them like, okay, this it's intangible now, we can't touch it, but if we all work together, eventually we can all touch it. Like if we can all pull this rope like in the same direction, it can be a whole lot easier for us to gel together as a team, and then also for us to attain that goal. And when you get guys to focus on the team and not themselves, and focus on when the team win, we all win, which is extremely tough nowadays. That kind of limits the competition against one another, and it kind of reverse the competition on the other color jersey that we're facing in that game. And I like to think we've been able to get guys to jail because when you start talking about competing for the same position, like this is where we want this to be the place where the best come to play. And then when guys understand that coming in, there's no negative body language towards each other. There's no ill will towards each other. It's just friendly competition, and may the best man win, and may the best man go out and start.
I love it, man. You preparing them how it is. It's like you said, real world, and definitely in our pro game if they have aspirations of going pro. So, Nadine says, "Are you still recruiting a 2021 class?"
Yes, we are. We're still looking for game changers. We're always trying to find a way, to get better. With COVID making the NCAA allow everyone to get that year back, it has created this log jam where our roster has been extended, and then also where it forces us to not have as many scholarships, as we thought we was going to have. It has put us in a predicament where our class is just not going to be as big as it normally would be. But yes, we are still recruiting for our 21 class.
All right, Nadine, there you go. All right, so we might as well go down the line. So, all right, shout out to my boy Gavin. Says, love HBCU. Been talking to David Pierre lately about my son. Are you guys still adding 2022s? And you might as well ask 20 because the next question is about 23s. So you might as well, I'm gonna just go ahead and go down the line, bro.
Oh, no problem, man. Yes, we are, man. And we expect our 22 class to be like our biggest class, mainly because of how we're going to lose a lot between the seniors that got another year back for this year. We're going to lose them going into 21. And then we're also going to lose that group of 21 guys that were rising up to be seniors as well. So we expect our 22 class to be probably our largest class of the 20s. When I say 20, the 2020, 21, 22, and 23. We're expecting our 22 class to be our biggest class of our early 20s here in this first turn of the decade.
All right. Let me get here. We have shout out to my boy Coach Eaton. Says, how do you feel about the incoming freshman class? I have a kid from North Carolina.
Okay. When he say a kid from North Carolina, I believe he's referring to a catcher that we signed that he's familiar with by the name of David Villard Jr. I feel extremely good about this class. I think this will be one of our freshman classes that multiple freshmen are going to have a chance to play right away. No disrespect to, any of our returning players, but I think myself and I think Coach Pierre did a really good job of identifying talent and finding guys to come in here and challenge the guys that we already have. I think that creates that edge of competition that you need, especially when, you want to see if guys are battle tested or not. And then it also puts us in a position where we can have some really good competitive scrimmage games and inter squad games against each other. And I know it's going to come a point in time where guys get tired of playing each other and beating up on each other, but it's going to get them ready for the upcoming schedule that we'll have.
All right. Shout out to Coach Eaton over there. Let's go. Didi says, what do you look for when recruiting players?
Well, that has changed due to COVID. And the reason I say it changed is because now we haven't had a chance to get out and recruit and actually go watch kids play. So, one of the first things that we look for is we want to know where the guy sits at or where he stands at in the dugout. Due to COVID, we can't see that. We want to know how he runs on and off the field. Due to COVID, we can't see that. When we get those videos, highlights of him, taking BP in the cage or getting a base hit in the game, like we can't see like how he reacts when he gets out. Like we don't see if he gets a chance to, throw his helmet or his hat or his glove. Those are some things that we don't get a chance to see when we normally recruit guys. And that kind of gives you it points you in the direction of what kind of makeup the kid is going to have when he's failed. And D, this, man, you made it to the big leagues. There's going to be a lot of failure that you have to deal with. And if guys can't overcome that failure at that level, at that age, then when the moments get hotter and the competition gets tougher, they won't be able to do it at the D1 level. They won't be able to do it, in minor league baseball, and they surely won't be able to do it at the big league level. So when we talk about what we're looking for when we're recruiting players is, how they handle themselves on and off the field. And then also, like I mentioned before, how do they change the game? If he's a hitter, can he hit his way to second base? Can he hit a double? Also, can he drive in a run while a runner is on first base? Can he drive in himself if he's at home plate? If he's a runner, okay, can he take away a hit with how athletic he is, with how he plays defense? If he's a runner, if he gets walked, can he steal his way to second base? If he's a runner, can he push the ball in play and can he stretch a single into a double? Can he stretch a double into a triple? Like those are game-changing plays by position players. And then if he's a pitcher, then can his fastball change the game? And with this launch angle baseball, now you have to locate at the top of the strike zone a whole lot better, to keep that ball in the ballpark, because for that launch angle baseball hitter that you might be facing, throwing that ball down in the zone is kind of in his happy zone, in his wheelhouse. So can he locate the fastball at the top of the zone nowadays? Can he spin this breaking ball for a strike? Can he spin the breaking ball for an 0-2 or 1-2 count, but it's not too much in the dirt where the catcher doesn't really have a chance to block it? So those are ways that we try to evaluate the player, is how can they change the game with the tools that they have. And we want to see guys be able to possess, 2 of the 5 major tools. And I know at the big league level, they're looking for 5 tool players. They're looking for, guys that have 4 out of the 5 tools. And with those tools being, does he hit for power, average? Does he have the arm strength, the defense, the speed? And then also the 6th tool is the mental makeup and the game IQ.
Listen, I could dissect. I promise you, I could go through step by step everything you just said and turn into a 10-minute conversation and everything. I love what you're talking about, impact players. Hitting yourself from home plate and yourself hitting the ball and driving in and running from first base. Anybody can hit somebody from second base, which is a good tool. Right. I mean, obviously, getting your RBI, but game changers are those type of guys that you're hitting yourself at the home plate. Anytime you're a game changer. And you driving and runs for the guys at first base. And I love you talking about the pitching and the 0-2 and the get me over curveball, understanding what the difference is. And Man, all right, we talking baseball, but let me get these questions in, man. That was great what you said, man. Let's go. Here we go. Isaiah says, with coach recruiting from such a diverse background, how does he get kids to adapt to the culture shock at Grambling, being a smaller town?
No doubt, no doubt. And that has been, a problem at some schools. I think that the way you combat that is, one, you have to bring the kid like on an official visit when he gets the chance to see the campus and see the campus come to life. Now, I don't mean like an official visit when nobody's on. You have to bring them to campus when there's like a big activity going on, because he's right. There can be a culture shock, and it could hinder the maturation process of that student athlete, because he or she haven't been used to it. But when you bring them down on an official visit, whether it's a homecoming event or a spring fest event or even just a big football event, you have to get them embracing that culture where they get a chance to see the parade. They get a chance to go to the Eddie Robinson Museum. They get a chance to see the band play. They get a chance to see, the diversity that we have in our athletic department. When you look at each team, whether it's football, our soccer team, our softball team, our tennis team, our bowling team, our baseball team, we are extremely diverse. And I think that when you surround those kids with people that are interested in the same things that they're interested in, it kind of helps them embrace themselves in that culture, and eventually, they become a part of it.
All right. Nadine says, what type of academic support do you have for your student athletes?
Repeat that again, Coach.
What type of academic support do you have for your student athletes?
All right. Well, starting with our academic support, we have tutors that are here on campus. We also have, laptops that, our student athletes can go check out from our academic athletic department if they don't already have a laptop. Our campus is also equipped with Wi-Fi. So with that being said, students don't necessarily have to always go to the computer lab because they have the access to the Wi-Fi to their dorm room. With our study hall regimen that we have, we have it in place where, freshmen have X number of, a freshman has 10 study hall hours that they have to accumulate Monday through Friday. And that would be a tally kept on that. Now, if I'm a sophomore or a junior or a senior and I have a certain GPA, then there's a sliding scale that kind of where their study hall hours are reduced. And if you're at a certain GPA, then your study hall hours can be exempt. But as far as getting them equipped, we have a ton of computer labs on campus. We have tutors available at the drop of a dime. If a student, allows us to answer the tough questions for us. And that's another thing that, we run into, like when we're recruiting kids, we kind of talk to them about, we need you to be upfront and honest with us about, what you're good at, and also what you're working on getting good at in the classroom. Like what subjects come easier to you and what subjects come harder to you. And the reason we need to know that is because, in the fall, baseball, we just practice. We don't travel. We don't have no games. We don't have no long, no bus rides back. So that's the semester where we try to take our tougher classes or our tougher subjects that we may tend to struggle in. Now, those subjects that we excel in, we need to know about those. That way we could take those in the spring, because if I excel in it, then that can be a class where I don't have to be in class all the time because I have some games or I have some road trips or I just have some late hours, and that subject comes easier to me. Then I can kind of, handle myself in that subject a little bit easier than I could, if it's a tougher subject, since I'm going to be having games and I'm going to be having late road trips. So I think we do a good job of getting our kids ready for, the academic parts. But, it's a two-way street. We need them to be upfront and honest with us about, those subjects that they're going to need help in. And then a lot of times, man, you might come across a prideful, student athlete where he don't want to ask for help. And I've been that way before, whether I didn't want to ask for help for things on a baseball field or I didn't want to ask for help in the classroom because I might have been ashamed or embarrassed to tell somebody that I didn't know, but not knowing that, that wasn't the wise thing to do. So, with all that being said, I think, our athletic administration does a good job of, getting our guys equipped with all the academic tools that they need.
All right. Oh man, great question, great answers. We have, whew, they coming in, Coach. All right, they coming in today. These questions. So, what does recruitment look like with COVID hanging around?
Man, it's been tough, Mr. Richard. It's been tough, but it looks like, extra phone calls, extra text messages, and evaluating videos and asking tough questions when, after watching these videos. Like I mentioned before, with, just watching, so many highlight videos of watching a guy, throw the baseball, hit the baseball, run the bases, make plays on defense that, you don't get a chance to see a kid struggle. And if like I know that, you can go 3 for 10 and be a 300 hitter, man, but you got out, 7 out of 10 times. And, how does one accept that? How does one, not accept it, but how does one get over it? And that's been, the downfall of COVID. We haven't been able to see how tough this next recruiting class is going to be by actually being there, watching them play in person. So with that recruitment, it kind of leans on, really calling the coaches that you already have a relationship with, really calling the coaches that have already built up their credit with you when they send you players, and those players tend to check out and not, not fizzle, although those players actually meet the expectations, that coach expressed to you because, he has a lot of credit with you, and you've also have had the chance to, get players from him in the past. So, COVID has really thrown us a curveball where we don't get a chance to truly evaluate the kid makeup, but we still get a chance to evaluate him on film, so to speak.
I mean, man, I know it gotta be tough, but I love what you said. I love what you said. We talking about how he's standing in the dugout. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that I love those little things like that. When y'all be saying, you coaches say that little things like that, because I be wanting these parents. I know they're listening, obviously, but I want them to understand. Like when you get to that D1 level, right? It's the littlest things that make people like you and the next guy, not like you, or make this guy whatever. Right? The hitting gonna be the same. Sometimes it could be little variables, but once you get to that level, what's going to separate that dude? You know what I'm saying? From you pulling the trigger and you making him an offer. You know what I'm saying? It's that little things, how he's standing, how he's congratulating, how he's running on and off the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I love it.
Like those are things we don't get, in this COVID video recruiting that we're going through for the most part. But there have been some organizations like Perfect Game, the Chicago Aces in Chicago White Sox Ace in Chicago. They have had their and also East Coast Pro Showcase. They have had their events streamed live online, so that has been a help. And also Jeremy Booth with the Future Star series as well. So those are the 4 big programs that I could think that have had their events streamed online. And I think that might be the way to help these kids get seen and truly get evaluated with this COVID being out there, and then also with this dead period continually to keep getting extended. And I hope that answered the question for him.
Yeah, well, since we're talking about that, right? So parents listening in, all right, speaking of streaming, so I've got 4 dates set. I got 3 confirmed. Memphis, September 26th, Orlando, October 10th, and then I got Waco, Texas. So my boy Jimmy, I setting that up. I'll be going down to Texas either November 6th or the 13th, and I'll confirm with that. And I'm trying to get one in Atlanta where I will be streaming across the workout from the field, and we're going to hopefully have Coach Cooper and all these guys over here in Cooper. I'll give you that information. We'll confirm, but definitely right now confirmed is October 10th in Orlando, September 26th in Memphis. We're trying to lock down Atlanta, a date in Atlanta, and we will be in Texas over there, November 6th or 13th in Waco, Texas. All right, so okay. I'll give you those dates and all of that. So if you are in that area, all right, Memphis, Atlanta, Waco, Texas in November. All right, shout out to my Texas crew out there, and Memphis. All right, September 26th, Memphis area. All right, should be a private message. I'll have all the dates on the website and everything. And Coach Coop, he just told you what's the new age. All right, you have to do it during this time. So You want to unsigned 2021s, especially. You better.
Absolutely, man. And they're going to be the first class to, my heart goes out to that 20 class because, they had their high school season kind of, snatched away from them. But, you get a chance to, learn from other people's downfall, whether it's their fault or not their fault. But, I hope everybody is learning for this 21 class so they don't have to struggle to get seen like the 20 class did. So I'm hoping, all these baseball programs, whether it's Perfect Game, all these baseball academies, PBR, man, we have to do a better job of, helping these people get seen where they can also get a chance to attend a college of their place. Now, Grambling might not be the place for everybody, and that's okay, and I'm fine with that. But there is a place for everybody to go play somewhere, whether it's junior college, D1, D2, D3, NAIA, or whatever the case may be. There's a place for everybody to go and play, and I hope everybody gets their equally fair chance to be seen so they can find the right fit for them.
Amen. All right. D-Rob says, coming on, does Grambling have a JV team? And will you have any kind of fall season?
No, we do not have a JV team at Grambling. And as far as our fall season goes, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we get a chance to go out in the fall after Labor Day in September. With COVID being around, and our student athletes are going through testing this week. Our men's and women's basketball team got tested today. Our bowling and tennis team got tested today. And, us in baseball and volleyball and softball are going to get tested on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So, with all that being said, if these tests come out, in a positive fashion, I can see us getting on the field and, using the CDC bylaws and guidelines where, it's 10 people or less, and you can have the BP sessions, you can have the ground balls, you can have the weight room, and making sure guys are wearing their masks and practicing good hygiene. So, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we have a fall. It's going to be abbreviated. It's not going to be the fall that we're accustomed to having, but it will be enough with the plans that we have in place for our kids to get their work in. We think we can get our guys ready to play for this upcoming season.
Okay. All right. Next question is, a current high school senior looking to play somewhere, but the only college that has offered is the HBCU. What do you tell these players and parents to get them to commit? That's a whole subject right there. Good question.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Coach Ellis used to tell us all the time, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. You can't lose what you don't have. But I was a base stealer, when I played baseball, and so was D Brown, and when you're base stealers, you tend to bet on yourself. You can't get to second base by being afraid to, get off first base. With all that being said, if the kid truly believes that that's not the best offer or the best fit for him, I would encourage him to, explore other opportunities. But that offer might not be there, when he comes back around. So I think that's a tough conversation that kid and that parent needs to have with the coach that offer him the scholarship, and then also those other schools that may just be talking to him just to keep him warm, even though they haven't offered him yet. Like, they need to have a tough conversation with him. Like, coach, is the offer is it really going to come? Like, are you leading me on? Should I shop elsewhere? But with that being said, man, I really like to think that, Grambling is going to be the place to be where not only black baseball players are going to be at, but, we want to have the best baseball players in the world. We're in the process of doing everything that we can to develop them, with the tools that we have. And I think we are closer than most people think we are. So with that being said, I would say, you got to have that tough conversation with those parents and also with that coach that offered him the scholarship. And you have to have an even tougher conversation with those coaches that are still recruiting him that haven't really sent him the offer yet.
All right. I wanted to put the email over here. It came up. I hope it's cool, Coach.
That's
it.
You
know what I'm saying? So you got kids with videos, information on your son. His coaches. I don't know if you wanted Twitter or the email, but I have my guy. Is that cool to put your email up there? To send,
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I can send on my social media and everything.
All right, cool. I will get that social media at the end. Let me see. Jeremiah says, what's the tuition cost?
All right. Now the tuition cost, it varies based on what dorm the student athlete stays in. Now we have 4-bedroom apartments, which is a 4-bedroom suite on campus, and then we also have a 2-bedroom suite on campus as well. But the 2-bedroom suite is the most expensive because it's only 2 people sharing that apartment. So it's kind of tiered. So with the 2-bedroom suite, you're going to be looking at like $9,500 per semester. That's going to cover the dorm room. That's going to cover the tuition costs, and it's also going to cover, the meal plan. Now, when you start staying in the 4-bedroom suite, you're looking at right at $9,000 per semester. And if a student lives in a dorm that it's in a double occupancy, where it's kind of like a traditional dorm setting where, you have the bed on this side, you have the bed on the other side, and they share the bathroom on the inside. They share the vanity mirrors as well. Those will be our least expensive dorms, and that's right around $7,500 per semester. So if you're going to be in a 2-bedroom apartment dorm on campus, you're looking at $9,500 per semester. For a 4-bedroom, it's like $9,200 per semester, and then for the double occupancy, $7,500 per semester.
Okay. We have SWAC. SWAC should have JV.
I think that's debatable. I think you can list some pros and cons on both sides on how that would benefit, the conference, and also how it would benefit, each student athlete. But I think I don't think I would be in favor of it because you don't come across too many Division I programs themselves. Like no Division I programs have JV. So I don't know what all would be like the pros and cons for it, right offhand. But I think you can deliberate and speak positive and negative on both sides of the fence for that.
All right. Do you recommend high school coaches to reach out to you with potential recruits?
Yes, I do. I believe that helps build a relationship. When you look at the number of high school coaches that are out there in comparison to the number of, Division I college coaches that are out there, we're extremely outnumbered. Then also you factor in some travel ball coaches as well that may not be affiliated with a high school. So there's so many different avenues out there and so many different coaches out there that as a college coach, you just can't reach all of them. So I would definitely, encourage the high school coaches to reach out to, those Division I coaches and coaches in general, about potential recruits, because it could be the fact that, we just missed him, or it could be the fact that, it got rained out when we were supposed to see him, or whatever the case may be. And in this instance, it's a pandemic that we're facing, so we definitely didn't get a chance to see him as well. So yes, please do. I think that helps build a relationship, and it also can be, the start of something beautiful if, that high school coach can send, a player that's going to be exceptional in the classroom and on the field. And then that would make that college coach reach out to him for another one like that in the near future.
All right. Let me get all right. Would you sign an upcoming 8th grader?
No, I wouldn't, because it's illegal for us to sign and offer a dollar amount scholarship to an 8th grader. And this is just
it's illegal. I know that. It's illegal to do.
No, yeah, it's illegal. Like, we can't officially offer a dollar amount scholarship, to anybody that's in the 10th grade, 9th grade, or 8th grade. You can't start
a scholarship, but you just can't talk dollar amount.
Correct. Okay. Now, as
Mm-hmm.
far as him, I'm putting emphasis on the word sign since it's in, his question. There aren't any 8th graders that have signed an official Division I scholarship to attend, a university, because it isn't possible. That's not in the bylaws. It is permissible. So if someone is saying my 8th grader has signed a scholarship while they're in the 8th grade, they're not being honest with you.
All right, you ain't lying. All right. This is a great question because only at a HBCU or black school you gonna really get this question, I believe. All right, because this is something that came near and dear to my damn heart when I was back in my high school days. Because I wanted to be a Grambling State snare drum player, man. All right, but do you have any players in the band? I got a baseball / trombone player that wants to attend the HBCU, but what don't know if it's possible. If he don't know if it's possible that you can play in the band and also play baseball.
Now, I don't believe it's possible. I've yet to have it happen in my tenure here. Just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean it's impossible. But with all that being said, that band schedule and practice times is some of the most. They're by far the hardest working team on campus at every HBCU. At every HBCU.
Right.
So, with the practice hours and the practice times and the events that the bands have to attend, whether they're in the fall and also events that they have to attend in the spring. A lot of people don't realize that that the band has events to do during the spring as well. So whether they're playing at some high school event, whether they're playing at an event in the community, whether they're playing at an event in a big city, whether they're opening up for some big event somewhere across the country, like it would take away from that kid put in a tough position where, okay, do I go with the band? Do I go with the baseball team? And I think that's going to be the downfall of a guy that has a gift at playing music and then also a gift at playing baseball. I think he's going to be forced to choose, one or the other. And then also another occurring fact, about our band with the NBA playing in the bubble due to the coronavirus, Grambling State University World Fame Marching Band was the first HBCU to play virtual opening for the New Orleans Pelicans when they were in the bubble in the regular season before their season was ended, before the playoffs started. So, that's another feather in our cap as far as our band is concerned. They were the first, marching band to play virtual in the bubble during the NBA basketball season.
All right. There you go. Fun facts out here. All right. Let's go. Keenan, Coach D, you have open eyes to HBCU. Love this info. That's what I love to do. Shout out to my boy Greg Godwin. He said the same thing. He said, appreciate you, D, for bringing on young HBCU coaches like yourself, Coop. All right. Let me see. Didi says, thank you. I believe you will love my son, Jaden. All right. Didi, I put that email up there. So send that video info over to Coach. All right.
Please, Miss Didi.
All right. You hear it. All right. Josh says your son is a stud, Didi. So hey, okay. I'm thinking he's talking about Didi's son. At Josh, are you speaking to me? Okay, yeah, they have their own conversation going, Coach.
Okay.
Let's go. Just getting knowledge. All right. Let's go with this one, man. How early are you looking at a prospect? I know you mention this, but I want to kind of get everybody's questions in, man. You got a lot of questions coming in, bro.
Okay. Man,
maybe the most.
We try to start identifying guys in the 9th grade. That kind of gives us a chance to kind of project where we think he may be. But we really start bearing down on them, when they're in the 10th grade. So, we kind of look for them in the 9th grade, but when they reach the 10th grade status, that's when we start bearing down on them.
All right. Let me get some of these questions on the page. I'm sorry, I left you alone out here. Tasha, what's up, Tasha? Do you recruit JUCO players?
Yes, we do. We do recruit junior college players as well, as high school players. Those junior college players offer a lot that, an incoming freshman probably can't offer. One of the first things that they can offer is, they're kind of accustomed to like the long grind and the long season of a college season because of, coming from their junior college ranks. Another thing that they're kind of accustomed to is the fact that they've already have gotten, 2 years in, if we're talking about a sophomore junior college player transferring. They've already gotten 2 years in, of being on the college circuit. They understand the bus rides. They understand, how to eat on the road for the most part. Well, some of them never understand how to eat on the road, but, some tend to kind of understand that, they're acclimated to juggling that class schedule that you have in college in comparison to what you have in high school. Now, in high school, you go to the same classes every day, Monday through Friday. Now, when you get to college and junior college, you have the same class on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then you have different classes on Tuesday and Thursday. So, there's a transition period that, an incoming high school student doesn't necessarily know yet. They have to, grow into it, and they have to live it, in order to get better at it. But, a junior college guy, he gets a chance to have been there and done that already. He kind of understands the ropes in a sense, and they just need to learn, our philosophy, and our thought patterns and what we like to teach for the most part. A lot of times when you get some of these junior college players, they're like a plug and play player for the most part. They're kind of already ready to play already, so to speak. There's like a little tongue twister there. But and with that incoming freshman, he kind of gets used to the speed of the game. And, and it's just a process.
All right. Mike says, shout out to Mike out in Cali. How far out are you recruiting your classes of? I think he's meaning age-wise, not necessarily location. I might be wrong, Mike, but that's what I think you're saying.
Okay, well, yeah, we're focused on primarily our 22 and our 23 classes right now. That's our big focus. Like I mentioned before, I think our 22 class is going to be, our biggest class of the 20s for the most part. Our 20 class couldn't be that big because of COVID. And then, of course, our 21 class not going to be that big because of the log jam from everybody getting that year back for the most part. So we're focusing on right now, our 22s and 23s, but we won't turn away a 21. That's a game changer. So don't get it twisted.
All right. My boy, let me see. Coach Eaton says, does Coach believe in post-grad kids?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And that's I think that post-grad thing kind of has made its way into the baseball world. I think there was a basketball experiment early on for the most part, and now you see guys starting to do it in baseball. But it gives kids a chance to mature a little bit. Like if you had a kid that was on the bubble, I've seen coaches kind of refer a kid to go to do a post-grad year and try to hide them and sign them instead of refer them to a junior college. But I have seen both sides of the coin though. I have seen it be very beneficial for the kid because he gets a chance to mature a little bit as far as his body gets to fill out. It gets him ready for that college pitching for the most part. But I've also seen it where it didn't work out in his favor, where he just kind of got lost in the shuffle, and some other kids just tend to get the love from these other programs, and then also their age could be a factor. Also, I would like to think it works better for a kid that has a late birthday, for so to speak, where he can actually be the age of the class after him. I've seen it work better for those kids in that place as well. But it has to be the right fit and the right program where they're doing that post-grad year at. So if parents are on the line and they're listening, and so as kids are, if you're considering doing that, make sure you're going to the right place where you're going to get developed. You're going to get, placed in those situations where you can become a better baseball player, more polished, and also a better individual as well.
All right. Yeah. You like me. I never heard of it till last year. I had a post-grad program on last year, and Coach Eaton, we trying to schedule something now to get him on here to talk more about post-grad, because right now that's a solid option with all the backlog of players and everything like that. For these kids,
It definitely is.
All right. My boy Lorenzo says, do you recruit at PBR Perfect Game tournaments?
Yes, we do, man. We had the live feed for, the Perfect Game Nationals over in Hoover this summer, a couple of months ago. We do have an account with PBR. Coach Pierre is on there faithfully, looking for, at one point in time, PBR was just in the Midwest area. Like a lot of people don't know that, that's where it kind of originated from. places like Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Kansas, Missouri, like that Midwest area. And of course, now it has made its way, clear across the country. But, we've had, guys come from PBR. We've had guys come from Perfect Game. And, they've also, been impactful guys for our program. It's just about finding the right guys that fit your style of play, that gives them guys an opportunity to be impactful players in your program.
All right. Let's go here. Does Grambling put on prospect camps to get the player on campus?
Yes, we do. With COVID being here, it kind of canceled all of the camps. So we look forward to trying to host, a New Year's or a camp in January if we get back acclimated where we can get out. When you look at all Division I programs, like we've all lost out on all of our camps over the summer, and it appears to be that we're going to lose out on all of our camps this fall and also our winter camp. So if we're able to get our camps back up and running, we would definitely have a camp in January, somewhere in between New Year's and Martin Luther King holiday. So stay posted on our school website for updates for camp dates anywhere between New Year's and also Martin Luther King holidays. That's going to be our target to get our first camp back started post COVID-19.
All right. Make sure you reach out to me, Coach. I'll post it to this community.
Will do.
Let me get this one from Lawrence. With the fees, what does it take to get an out-of-state waiver for tuition?
Okay, now any of on the academic side, it takes a 20 ACT or higher and a 3.0 or higher GPA. If a student has that academically, they will get their out-of-state fees waived. If a student is a student athlete and they have an athletic scholarship, the athletic scholarship will waive the out-of-state fees as well. So, we do a good job of handling that for our student athletes. So if we get a kid from out of state or out of the country and they are on scholarship, we waive their out-of-state fees.
All right, I cut out just a little bit, but Tracy says, Coach Pierre reaches out to my child. We live in Cali. Shout out to Cali. All right. Russ says JV programs help with coaches and build coaches for the future and helps promote the schools as kids go home and say they are on a team. I guess that's a statement. All right. All right. Let me see here on this side. We got. I already put that one. My bad. All right. Let me go here. Jake, shout out to Jake. What's going on? I gotta call you back, Jake. My bad, big dog. How much film do you like to watch on a player?
Well, post COVID-19, a lot. We like to get as much, data and information on the kid, that way we can make a fair assessment. It's going to be extremely hard to, truly evaluate guys with watching film and watching film only. But, it allows you to evaluate the player as far as talent goes. It doesn't allow you to evaluate the kid as far as makeup goes. So, with all that being said, we like to watch a lot. That way we get a chance to see, if he's playing at home in front of his home crowd, how well he plays. And then also if we get a chance to see some video where he's playing on the road, to see how well he plays on the road as well. And when we're out recruiting, whether it's a high school kid or a junior college kid, that's one thing. Those are two things that we like to do. We like to see guys play on the road because, they don't know exactly how that field or that surface is going to play when they're on the road. When they're at home, they know where all the bad hops are going to be. They have, the support of their fans. There may not be a heckler there to try to get them off their A game, so to speak. So we like to evaluate kids when they play at home, and we catch them in a road game because we get a chance to see them struggle with, the elements.
All right. Love it. Let me go here. What is the number one issue of a prestigious university like Grambling not getting top black recruits? Can HBCUs really compete in the recruiting game against bigger and mid-major universities? What can the HBCUs and coaches do to compete?
All right. I love that question. I love where this conversation is going to. So let's talk about the first part of that. You talk about the issue. The main issue on us, is recruiting and landing the big black recruits is, as black baseball coaches, we don't get the benefit of the doubt. We don't get the benefit of the doubt that we can develop the kids. We don't get the benefit of the doubt that our facilities are equipped and nice enough to help these kids develop. These white coaches at some of these other predominantly PWIs and also these Power 5 schools, they get the benefit of the doubt. A lot of people tend to think just because they have a better facility or if their batting cage is bigger than ours or their grass is greener than ours, that they're teaching and developing more there. That's not what that means. What that means is that university just has more money to buy those things. It doesn't mean that they develop the pitchers with breaking balls, or it helps the pitcher's game velo. It doesn't mean that they help them perfect their swing. It doesn't mean that they develop them to be an elite defender. Another thing is we need more people to consider to come into HBCUs because they can't all go to those PWIs. Another thing too is, are you going to go play for somebody that doesn't allow them to be themselves? Whether it's with the clean shaven or whether it's with, you can only wear your pants down. You can only wear your pants up. Your hair has to be this length, or your hair can't be this color, or you can't wear these type of wristbands, or you can't support, this type of car. So you have to go to a place where you can be yourself. Another reason is, when you look at, being a limited resource institution, like, we don't have the financial backing that, a flagship school of our state may have. And I think I'm speaking for every HBCU in every state. The flagship schools of those states have all the financial backing as far as what the government sends them, or also what, the state sends them as well. I think that when you talk about securing, the best black talent, I think one, in order to get that kid, I think he has to have already had an HBCU background, like in his household somewhere. I think that's the way to get him. Another way to sign that kid is he has to want an HBCU experience. He has to want to, be coached by, somebody of color for the most part. He has to want to be a part of that culture. And I think that when you look at, Major League Baseball and you see the lack of black baseball players playing, and then also the lack of players that are in those Power 5 schools, you can go look at the SEC, just this past year, man, like, there wasn't a black shortstop in the SEC. And that's kind of frightening. It's kind of frightening. So when you start to consider how, where we drop the ball at as, baseball coaches, not just coaches at the college level, but whether I'm a travel ball coach or if I'm a high school coach or I'm a junior college coach, man, send the kids to the places where they get a chance to be themselves and also where they get a chance to be better. Don't just send them to the big name school because it looks good on your resume. You're setting that kid up to fail that way.
Great information on that, man. And it's funny, and I don't mean this to call nobody out right now, right? So, because you hear this, how do you compete and all of that type of stuff, right? So, I'm gonna ask this question, right? Because I was having this conversation yesterday. Shout out to my boy D Brooks. We was talking about this. Now, on one hand, you always have the parents, man, in the HBCUs, they don't recruit no black players, or it's not enough black players. Why you don't do this and do that, whatever. But then I talk to some of these parents and all of that, and and kids. And as soon as that word HBCU come up, it's like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you overcome that stigma? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's gonna be tough. I think it's gonna vary from school to school, but the way this is how we get to compete against those elite programs. You guys got to help us get those elite players. That's just point blank, period. If you want us to be able to compete against the elite programs, help us get elite players. Now, here's going to be the thing. Yeah, it's going to be a struggle when we get that first wave in because now, those dollars hadn't started rolling in. But when you start looking at the fact that if we're able to land 8 top 5 players from across the country, if we're able to land 8 of them, eventually, those deals will come, and they would be like Moses in a sense. No, those will be the guys that's going to lead us, to the promised land, so to speak. But it starts with, one, we got to identify the talent. 2, if those coaches out there know who the talent are, they got to help us get them. Now, in a sense, here's the thing, like we want to develop players, don't get me wrong, but if we can get a player that's already ready to play like these Power 5 schools get for the most part, then yeah, we're going to want them too. We're going to want them too. Those are going to give us a chance to compete right away, absolutely right away. You don't have to worry about the developmental stage where you got to take your lumps and your bruises for the most part. But, if you want us to compete against elite talent, help us identify, recruit, and sign elite talent. That's going to help us get there. Now, generally speaking, every player on the roster is not going to be like, this 5-star athlete, and we know that. But we can't load up on 2-star guys and think we can go out there and beat a LSU. We can't load up on 2-star guys that, hey, coach, he'll be ready in 3 years, and think we can go out there and beat TCU in Arkansas. It's just not going to happen that way. It's not going to happen that way. If you guys want to help us beat elite teams, help us identify and sign elite talent.
Amen. I know I'm doing my part, Coach. All right, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm trying to do my part. All right. All right, my man. All right, shout out to my boy Greeny. All right, Greeny. Shout out to my boy Greeny. Said love Coach Cooper's energy. I coached one of his former pitchers, Tanner Rayborn, during his time with the Red Sox. He spoke highly of the program. Who is Grambling's biggest rival, and who has the most hostile environment on the road in the conference?
Absolutely, man. Tanner Rayburn was our ace when he got drafted by the Boston Red Sox here at Grambling State. And he's also a graduate too. So he's not just an athlete. He was a guy that got his degree as well. And our biggest rival at Grambling State would be Southern University. They are the Jaguars. They're located down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And when you say the most hostile environment on the road in our conference, well, I think people will say we have the most hostile environment at Grambling. But, when we're on the road, it will probably be a mixture between Texas Southern and Southern University. Texas Southern is located in Houston, and, of course, Southern is located in Baton Rouge. Those will probably be our 2 most hostile environments. But a lot of people in our conference will tell you Grambling is probably the toughest place to come and play at.
All right. Good question, Greeny. Shout out to my boy Greeny out there. Let's go. Let me try to hit all of these. Man. We live in California, JB. All right. My boy George, shout out to George, says, what kind of scholarship do you offer white kids? How many do you recruit?
We don't have a cap on the number. Like, if I see 8 and I think they all could play, they potentially all might have scholarships, whatever the case may be. But we don't have a minority scholarship for our minorities here at Grambling. We're just not at the liberty to have those type of finances. But, we do offer them scholarships as far as athletics, as far as baseball is concerned. I hope that answers this question. But, I would, and I think this goes without saying, there's been a lot of negative talk about, HBCUs who have dropped the ball with the type of player that they're recruiting. And in essence, man, it's not really a dropping of the ball. It's the coach, whether he's black, whether he's white, whether he's Hispanic, he's going to go out there and recruit the players that generally look like him the most. So, if you hired a white coach, then generally the majority of those players are going to eventually be white. And if you hired a black coach, eventually the majority of those players will be black. Same thing if he was Hispanic. That rule resonates at the PWI level as well. The head coach at LSU is white. The majority of his players are white. I don't think that's rocket science. Now, you have some teams that that are more diverse than others, whether you're talking about Power Fives, like you talk about Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt had the most diverse team in the SEC last year. They might have had, I don't know, maybe 40% of the team was black. They even had, a couple Hispanics on the roster as well. But, that needs to be directed not more at the coaches, but more at like maybe the administration, whether it's the athletic directors or the president, who's hiring these guys. But if the guy, doesn't matter if he's black, brown, or white, if you hire the guy and he's winning, then what do you want the school to lose? You know what I mean? So I don't understand. Like I would probably never understand that, but I could talk on and on about it. But teams are generally gonna reflect what the head coach looks like, and I think that's where some of those HBCU programs have navigated their way too. And same thing here at Grambling, and the same thing there at those PWIs.
All right. He's saying everybody's saying preach, exactly. All right. All right. He said Tracy in California says her child's school promoted HBCU out in California. I ain't gonna say that, Josh. All right. I don't want to put nobody down over here. Gosh, yeah, everybody, I love it, man. Tag, keep tagging people on, man. Coach, I mean, this might be one of my most hottest shows, man. This you gotta come back on, man.
Hope so.
Shoot, man. I had the SEC and everything on there, man. You. All right, so Dorset, shout out to Dorset. All right. Great talk earlier today. Is it too late to commit to a D1 after most of the funds are gone?
No, but you should only be committing if they don't offer you a scholarship. So I don't think there would be an opportunity to commit, or I don't think a coach in his right mind would ask you to commit to them without having a scholarship eventually available. If that does happen, then man, I would highly encourage you that that's not the right place for your child to be.
All right. We got a lot of love for your assistant coaches too, Coach. All right. A lot of people talking about how hard your assistant coaches go at it, man.
Good deal, man. We have a good group here, man. My Coach Pierre, Coach Jones, and Coach Johnson, man. They do a good job of doing what I ask them to do, man. We ask guys to be geniuses in the spots that they smart in. We kind of, and we do that with our players too, man. We identify the strengths of my coaching staffs, and I tell them guys to go be strong where they're strong at. And the same thing with our players, man. We want to, set the table for them, so to speak. We want guys to try to always put them in position where they can be successful. I'm not going to have a reliever go out there and start a game because that's not what he does well. But, if he's a guy that can be max effort for 6 outs, then he can definitely be a closer for us. I'm not going to ask my my leadoff guy to drive in a bunch of runs. I'm not going to put him in a bunch of RBI situations. I'm going to put him where he can set the table and be that RBI for, that power hitter. So, if we got guys that aren't accustomed to, playing left field, because as an outfielder, it can be a little tough, to, judge that ball off the bat if you're not accustomed to it. So, he might be better served in center field. We might have a guy that, that doesn't turn that backside double play as well from second base. But he's better suited for third base. So, we try to get guys' weaknesses better, but we definitely want guys working 95% of the time in the places where we know they're going to be strong at.
All right. My boy Kev says, Coach, do you think we would have more elite talent to choose from if we have more players giving back to the Black communities?
Absolutely, man. I think with that whole movement that CC Sabathier, Tim Anderson, Curtis Granderson, there's a movement going on with Black baseball at the big league level. They're starting to band together and stick together a whole lot more than they have in the past. And and I think what our country and what our nation has faced has opted them to do that. And I think eventually they're going to invest in some of these HBCU programs. Like I haven't been told that from anybody. There's just a feeling that, that's inside of me that I think is going to eventually happen. And, and D Brown, just imagine, man, if all the black big leaguers came together and you had 5 of them say, look, I'm going to donate some money and some time to Grambling. You had another 5 say, I'm going to donate some money and time to Southern. Like, I think if all these big leaguers came together and you picked 3 or 5, they all adopted a HBCU baseball program, I think we could turn the nation on its heel as far as baseball is concerned. When you start talking about the David and Goliath battles in sports, in baseball, football, and basketball. Baseball, there are the most upsets. Basketball is the second most upsets. And then football, you hardly ever see those upsets. So baseball and basketball are the sports where we have a better chance to compete against those Power 5 schools. Case in point, in baseball, if I have my pitcher and he's lights out, he's the one guy that can equalize the entire lineup for that opposing team. In basketball, if I have a shooter and he's just Steph Curry high, he can be the guy that can keep that basketball team in the game. But if I have that one guy on that football field, like, he's going to need a lot more help than that basketball player is going to need, as well as that pitcher is going to need. So baseball is the sport where you see the most upsets in, David Goliath matchups. Secondly, it's basketball. And third, of course, is football. But baseball is the sport where we have a better chance at beating and winning them in regionals. When you go across the country and you look at the scores when our baseball programs play Power 5 schools, when, the basketball programs do the same, the closeness of the scores in the games that are most competitive is baseball. Mainly because of how the game is played. Pitching and defense can put a team to sleep for the most part. And then in baseball, like, you don't have to even get a hit to score a run sometimes. You can get walked, you can steal a base, there can be an error, there could be a squeeze play, there can be a sack bunt, there could be a sacrifice, and you done generated a run without necessarily getting a hit. But, like, you have to do a lot of things right on that football field in order to get that first down, to kick that field goal, to score that touchdown. And I think baseball is our sport where we have a better chance to where that playing field can be narrowed. And if we get those big leaguers to support us, I think that we will be able to put that money in facilities. We'll be able to put that money in technology, because our game is moving to an analytical game way faster and way more than what the NFL and also what the NBA is doing. It can put us at the forefront where we can compete at them teams and beat them teams at a more consistent basis.
All right, I love it, man. I mean, listen, I'm all for you, man. All right, I've behind the scenes, I've been trying and willing to help you guys. All right,
and we gonna do it. Grambling gonna be first. Grambling gonna be the first to do it. You heard it here first. D Brown Show. Tell him.
Right. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. All right, damn. All right, we got Mississippi State signed a black kid from Alabama. A couple years ago, he left after 1 year. They signed another black kid, Louisiana, and the next year he left after 1 year. If those two went to an HBCU, they could be helping an HBCU be dominant. One chose to go to Pitt and could have stayed in the South to play at HBCU.
Yep, and the other one chose to go to Nicholls State. We actually offered the one that chose to go to Nicholls State when he was coming out of high school. We didn't offer him when he was leaving Mississippi State going to Nicholls State. And we also played Mississippi State that year, and he didn't get a chance to, play against us. And I actually wanted him to play because I actually wanted to see, how much better he had gotten, from us recruiting him. And then also, but man, if you're right, like those guys can be game changers. They get there, they get in that log jam, and they don't get a chance to play. But I have seen guys transfer from SEC schools and come to our conference, and they not pan out, or they not be as good as what people thought they was going to be. It does happen, but in some cases, in most cases it doesn't happen. But I have seen it happen before. But there are a bunch of guys on some of these people rosters where if they were at HBCUs, man, they'll be a candidate for being an all conference or a conference MVP player. But at the school that they're at, they're not on track to be an all-conference or conference MVP player.
All right, let's go. I got one over here. We have sign up for the YouTube. All right, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. All right. Well, we got everybody on here. Josh has right. Jackson State, we beat Ole Miss. They didn't want to reschedule us next season.
I could believe it.
All right. D-Ross says great stuff, Coach. All right. Coach, just took a look at your roster, and I like what I see. Some HBCUs have more Latino lineup. Great job, Coach. Mm-hmm. All right, and let me see here. Man, they are coming in. All right, okay. All right, I think. Whew, what I love, Coach, man. All right, I think that's let me see. Let me make sure. All right, Rick Rob from Arizona to HBCU. All right, shout out to Arizona out there. All right. Okay. All right. Let's go. All right. So we hit tuition, we hit camps, we hit. I appreciate the time. Thanks, Coach. I mean, this is definitely one of those proud moments of my show, and a lot of people tagging and sharing. So I appreciate the people that have been on. What I'm saying, this is definitely one of the game changers in this thing, man. Gotta get you back on, I guess. You know what I'm saying, man? You know what I mean?
No problem, man. I need to get back on, man. And look, after we win a championship in 2021, like, you're gonna get the exclusive, man. We got to do the show like from the bus after we just won a championship, like while we leaving the field. We got to do it right away.
I ain't tell you. If you talking behind the scenes, I don't know Carrick and all them talking about the HBCU World Series thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talk. I'm trying to see what's up over there. So we got the mail, we got Negro League Museum, got Bob Kendrick on board. So we rolling with that. So again, I'll link all of that together. There's a lot of interest in HBCUs. DD, I believe so, but I'm talking to DD personally because I hate. I ain't gonna say I hate. That's such a strong word, but I'm just talking the last. And again, I don't want to call nobody out because it is what it is. But sometimes I feel conflicted. You know what I'm saying? Because on one hand, and I understand we all going like our different schools and all of that. Me personally, as I stand here right now, if I take the last 10 parents and I talk to them daily, Coach, you know what I'm saying? Daily, all right? Mm-hmm. If I take the last 10 parents that I spoke to, okay, I should say the parent or the kid, at least 40 or 50%, if not more, when HBCU comes up, it's that negative thing. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be honest, I'm telling you, even in my own household, you know what I'm saying? I'm being straight up with you. And I don't like it. I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, why? Where's that come from? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they were like, oh, they messy and they this and they that. You hear all these, bad things about, I see nothing but like, great things happening. You know what I'm saying? I see nothing but, I believe in the next year or two, with all this stuff going on across the country, you know what I'm saying? I believe you should, and that's why I'm trying to, link up and help facilitate the influx of young Black kids flocking to HBCUs. You know what I'm saying? And for that opportunity, man. So again, I keep harping on that because I just, I don't be getting it like, and I understand everybody has their different opinions, but one parent, be like, I don't want to deal with this. And the other parents like, we got so much talent. Why y'all never come look at us? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you probably been dealing with that a lot longer, coaching for the last 11 years,
Yeah, I've dealt with both sides, man. I wish we could all be at the same place at the same time and also see the same thing. And even if we were there, we all wouldn't have the same. We all wouldn't have the same perspective or the same thought process about what we saw, because we saw it from two different spectrums. We saw it from two different point of views. And with all that being said, is don't believe what you read about any HBCU. Like, you have to do your own homework, your own due diligence, your own research, and find out, is this the place for me? Don't take nobody else's word for it. You know, it's just like when you're shopping for a car or you're shopping for a house. Like, you don't buy the first car you test drive. Like, you don't buy the first house, you know, that you do a visit with or you take a tour with. No, you get that car and you actually compare it to some or that house, and you actually compare it to something else. So eliminate what you have heard. Like, come meet us. Come talk to us. Come see us. Come see what we actually have to offer. Come see where we started from and where we are now, and also where we plan to go in the future. And then I guarantee you that would change the perspective of what you have about HBCUs, not just Grambling, but all of them. Because a lot of times, man, we all get, a negative rep. Like, there's a negative connotation that comes to HBCU athletics. Why? When that was a long time ago that Grambling had the most Hall of Famers in pro football. So I mean, it changes, and I think we can change the narrative, but it's gonna take open minds and open hearts, and then also willing to suppress what you thought was right, what you thought you heard. But and a lot of people do that to recruit negatively. Like, they don't want to compete against losing a kid to an HBCU. So you find that to where they talk bad about what our administration might be doing or what our facilities look like. Hey, man, look, you can get a good quality education here at Grambling and leave here with a really good degree. You can also play for a coach who played professional baseball, who coached with Team USA, who was an all-conference guy at the university, at his alma mater. So I think those are a big-time feathers in our caps, to where you have some coaches, whether he's at an SEC school or whether he's in an HBCU, where he didn't play pro ball, where he didn't he wasn't an all-conference guy, or he hasn't coached with Team USA, or he can't really talk to your kids about how to act when you get pulled over by a police officer. Like, I think those things go without saying, and I think we do a good job of that, with our student athletes.
All right, preach. All right, Corey, my shout out to Corey. He said, "Let me get that statement back on." All right, because I think it is part of it too, man. Ask Coach Cooper to talk about tribal coaches not sending him their best talent, only sending their second and third tier players, Man,
that has happened. That has happened. It also has happened where, some of these coaches have told us, like, certain kids was off limits, even if he hasn't signed and even if he hadn't committed to a school, but he's off limits for us. And like, off limits, like, what you mean off limits? Like we recruit him, like, nah.
They be saying that to you, man.
Yes, it has happened. It has happened. But with the statement that he's made, like, how do people expect us to beat elite teams if certain people are only sending us they third tier and second tier players? Like, it's just not gonna happen. Or if it does happen, you have to play so perfect and have to be so flawless in order to go out there and win that game. And it has happened before, but in most cases it happened. It hasn't. But those are the places where, like, you don't want to, shut the door on that program, because eventually, you might get a second or a third tier player out of there, and he does develop into, that 4 or 5 star kid that you eventually want. But for coaches to just handicap and restrict us from recruiting certain players, I think that should be to the discretion of the parents, and also the kid itself. Like, let them make that decision. Don't make that decision for them, or don't influence them to stay away from us. But we have had that happen in the past, and it's disheartening, man. It's disheartening. And those are the people that don't want us to beat those elite teams.
Yeah, I listen, y'all like this, man. I mean, I had Carrick on other than I saw that game against Mississippi State. You know what I'm saying? I mean, y'all. It's a handful of y'all programs that just,
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Just, right there, man. All right. Let me see here. We got I don't know who put this on here, but listen, I gotta give you a couple more questions, Coach. And I think you need to get more. I think you need to do more to get in front of a player, Tracy says.
Yes, ma'am. I agree, Miss Tracy. Too many Zoom interviews is not enough interviews, so to speak. I think that, if we get a chance to get in front of the players, and a lot of time it's not really the player, Miss Tracy. Sometimes it's the parents. Some of the times, like when you, like for an example, like you have some of these kids that play on these really good travel baseball teams where they have all the Power 5 commits. They have some big time major commits, and you'll have a player that hasn't committed to a school yet, and it's the parent that's waiting on their child to get an offer of equal value to the shortstop that he's been playing with, and it's a misconception that just because I'm on this team and it has 12, Power 5 D1 commits, I think my child should be one of those commits as well. Well, some of the times, yes, and some of the times, no. But the fact of the matter is your child going to get a chance to be itself there? Is your child going to get a chance to play there? Is your child going to get a chance to be able to relate to the coach there? Because in the society that we live in today, if you can't relate to your head coach, or if he can't relate to you, then that's going to be a 4-year struggle on him reaching the coach, or the coach reaching the player, so to speak. So, I think you're right, Miss Tracy. But, a lot of the times, it has a lot to do with the parent, because some of these parents feel that offer isn't big enough for their child, so to speak, based on the team and the teammates that their child has been playing with.
Hey, great answer right there. All right. Shout out to my boy Lorenzo. What's good? D. Let Grambling coach know we have a lot of black elite ball right here in D-Town. Shout out to Detroit. All right. I can send him his way tonight. Well, listen.
I need game changers. We need game changers. Send them to us. Give me a call, Lorenzo. Shoot me an email. I know D done posted it already, and I'm gonna
try to pull it back up, man. So, Russell Bill, man, give me shout out, put back. I can't find it through all these messages, man. I need to put it back up there. All right.
No problem.
Let me get this. I'm gonna get Coach out of there, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? He done took his time, but I appreciate you taking up this time. Yvette says, in our current political climate, I firmly believe HBCUs will fortify my young athletes with the tools necessary to thrive in our current environment on and off the field. Amen to that, Yvette. All right.
You're right, Miss Yvette.
Let me see if we got any other. All right. Yeah, we got this. The HBCUs, the alums is hard out here. They, everybody telling we got Grambling, we got Bethune-Cookman right here, HBCU. All right. Philip says he used to umpire SWAC softball. Tia says my son wants to go to HBCU after he graduates high school. All right, shout out to Tia. How many scholars do you offer per year? Is it the same as a D1 and D2?
I don't know the Division II rules, but it varies each year. We offer the number of scholarships based on the need that we have, and also the players that we need to replace. On average, somewhere between 10 to 15 each year.
All right. And D2, the most they can offer is 9. All right, 9. That's just depending on the school. There's Coach Coop's email. All right, my man. All right, book. I hope. Let me see, Lorenzo, man, here. I hope you got it. Copy of all the parents that we posted it earlier, but parents that are still on and maybe join later. All right, this is Coach Cooper's email. All right. Sending video. All right. Preferably games played. Swings, anything is cool, but I'm talking for you, Coach. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me. I just figured you want to see some inline game action if possible.
We need the video, whether they're hitting in the cage, throwing a side bullpen session, or they're pitching in the game or hitting in the game. We need all that to evaluate them the best way we can. And that's the athletic side. On the academic side, we need a copy of their transcripts, and we also need a copy of their test scores. Now, I know that due to COVID, the NCAA has waived these test scores, whether it's the ACT or SAT, because you can't have these large number of groups meeting in these testing centers, taking these tests. But you need to go out there and try to take the test if you haven't already taken it. Therefore, if they take that waiver process out the way for that test score is going to be required, because you have to register with the NCAA Eligibility Center. So if you're looking for things to what you need to email us, we need video, whether it's a pitching video, hitting in the cage, pitching in the game, or hitting in the game. We need some defensive video. We need a copy of the transcripts. We need a copy of the test scores. And then we also need the clearinghouse ID number.
There you go. So let me get this right, Coach, because I had this conversation earlier. All right. Because I know some kids have talked about, yeah, well, I don't need to take it now because they're waiving, you know what I'm saying? You're saying don't do that, still take it, right?
Well, the 20 class didn't have to take it. But if you're in the 21 class, the 22 class, or the 23 class, you need to be preparing yourself for just in case this rule still isn't in effect. I'm going to need my test score so I could be a Division I qualifier.
Yeah, right. I'm glad you brought it up, because I should have brought it up myself. All right. Let me see here. Coach Cooper said, be on the lookout for an email from the Full Count Foundation. If not tonight, tomorrow for sure. E-Town, all right. Shout out.
Got it, Renzo.
All right. HBUs have to define themselves differently. Do something differently during the game. Make it so people want to attend the games. Get the band, comedy before the game, step shows, something. Be different and continue to be Grambling, the great show Coach Robinson liked to say.
Absolutely. That's some good ideas. That's some good ideas right there.
All right. What GPA are you looking for out of a high school player?
A 2.9 or higher GPA. That's what we look for. That'll be close to like a B- to a B average player academically. I'm sorry. That's what we're looking for. And then also when they get the Grambling, they're going to be looking to maintain a 3.0 GPA also, so they can be exempt from study hall. When you got kids that have those type of GPAs, those tend to be the kids that you don't have to worry about checking up on as much academically, because they're academically sound and they know, what they need to do and how they need to do it and when they need to do it.
All right. True story. I got part athletic, part non-black scholarship to Prairie View back in the 1980s. Bobby said that. All right. Let me see. And let me just get all these last little few. If I didn't get every question, I'm so sorry. But man, this has been a great show. Are you interested in multiple sport athlete or a year-round ball player?
If it's a multiple sport, we would prefer that it be football, track, and baseball. Not so much basketball, mainly because of how our schedule and basketball season overlaps. When we report back in the spring, we have games and the basketball season is still going and they're getting primed for that run for March Madness, so to speak. So if a kid was a basketball player and a baseball player, he would miss the entire month of February and also like the majority and over half of the month of March, where he wasn't able to be, around us and also playing in our games or being in our practice. So, and then also if it's going to be a multi-sport athlete, like it has to be position specific. And what I mean by that is if he's going to be a football player, if he's a pitcher, that transition would be a whole lot easier for him, because as a pitcher, he's not going to miss out on getting those ABs. And D, you are a position player, man. You know how it is when you're trying to get those at-bats to get that timing down, and you just behind the 8 ball. And it's like when you show up to spring training and you haven't had all those live at-bats because you've been working out at home, you got to get the rust off, so to speak. And so if you're a position player, you're not going to get any at-bats in the fall, and it's just more rust that we would have to get off of you in order to get you ready for the spring. And I know that you do that in high school all the time, but, you're not playing against high school players anymore. So the level of competition changes. So as a freshman, not only, are you playing against other really good freshmen, but there might be a senior who has acquired his adult manhood strength that you haven't gotten as a freshman, and it tends to have the speed of the game a little bit quicker than what you're accustomed to, so to speak.
All right, Coach. So will you be in Atlanta for October for the HBCU showcase?
I will if the NCAA lifts the dead period ban. If the dead period is still in effect, I will not be there.
All right. I know somebody else asked me that, and I knew that answer was going to happen, but I made sure that I got that out there. And Gavin, if you're still on, I know you had asked about the Memphis thing, and he just answered your question. So, it's Bobby says, what do you need to see to accept a verbal commitment from an underclassman?
What do I need? What now?
What do you need to see to accept a verbal commitment from an underclassman?
Okay. We need to see the tools. Do we think those tools can be something to help us change the game with how he played? And then also like the projectability. Does it look like, if he puts on, 10 or 15 pounds over the course of the next 4 years, does it look like it would hurt him or does it look like it would help him? Also, if it's, does it look like if he's a pitcher, do we think he would have a 2 miles per hour different change over the next year? Like would it increase 2 years? Would the velo increase every 2 years? So we look for projectability, in that as well. That's why and when we start to truly consider, those early commitments.
All right. So, Coach, man, listen, before you're going to take us out, man, I appreciate your time, brother, man. This has been, I am so happy to have you on, man, and talk, man. And it's been a long time coming. I was looking forward to this for a while. I heard a lot of great things about you and disappoint. So anyway, real fast, parents, you got the 6-week masterclass next week. You have private message me about any of the showcases, or if you need help when it comes to the recruiting aspect of it. I think a few people on here I've reached out and we've been working and talking. All right, so now I know Coach over there. Now I know he knows my expertise, and I know he probably feels that I know what the hell I'm looking at or dealing with. So I'm sure if I have some ball players that can play, what I'm saying, he gonna at least listen. All right. So we are. If you have any type of that, private message me on that side. Coach, man, if you could, tomorrow, all right. Tomorrow coming on, I done did 2 coaches at one time, but tomorrow we have Michigan State head coach Jake Boss. All right, we're going to the Big Ten. Jake Boss is coming on tomorrow at 4 p.m. We got Michigan head coach, Michigan State head coach Jake Boss coming on tomorrow. All right, so be on the lookout for that, 4 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
All right,
no doubt.
So, Coach, if you could, man, my listeners still listening in, man, and thank you everybody for joining today and answering questions. And man, great show today, Coach. If you could take us out, man, a message, man, for these parents that are still on here listening in, man.
First and foremost, man, I want to thank you, D, for this platform and considering, myself and also Grambling State University, and for all the listeners and whether it's a parent, or a student athlete out there, man, keep an open heart and an open mind about attending the HBCU. When you start thinking about HBCUs, man, they help create some of the better people in this world. Myself to be one, Coach Eddie Robinson to be another. And the list goes on and on. And also, we have a really tough schedule coming up this upcoming season, man. And when you start talking about the places that we'll be at playing, we be playing an MLB tournament that's sponsored by Major League Baseball. It will be down in New Orleans. It'll be opening week. We go to Memphis and play the University of Memphis. We may be in Atlanta playing. We play LSU, Arkansas, Mississippi State all this upcoming year. Also to go along with some tough conference opponents in Alabama State, Southern University, and Texas Southern, who have all been, at the top of the totem pole along with ourselves over the last few years. So, with all that being said, man, we think we're doing a really good job of, acquiring elite talent. But there's a lot more elite talent out there that we may not get a chance to see. But please feel free to help us identify them and also to turn them on to us so we can get a chance to recruit them offer them and show them what we have to offer so they can help us change the game. You know, at Grambling State University baseball, we like to play what we call fast break baseball. It's a high speed up tempo baseball with base runners and also with our pitchers. And I'm hoping we can find more guys that can fit our style of play to help us knock off everybody that we see in our way.
I love it. All right, I'm anxious to see y'all play. All right, I'm gonna come on out there and see this HBCU style. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I already kind of have an idea of what I'm gonna see. You know what I'm saying? So, parents, man, y'all heard this man. All right, don't downplay, don't poo-poo HBCU schools, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, it is going to be a shift, man. You're starting to see it a little bit in college basketball with HBCUs. Eventually, it's going to start happening, and sooner than later when it comes to baseball. And you know, it can be a game changer. All right, you know, one to two guys here and there could be a game changer to this man's program. You know what I'm saying? High level guys. So again, you know, most of the people on here, I know most of them are fans of HBCU, but there's a lot of them still like, all right, but.
Here's the thing, D. Let me close by saying this, man. Just perspective for you know, those parents out there. All right, there are surefire draft picks everywhere. All right, in every sport, whether it's football, baseball, or basketball. But let's take basketball for instance, and let's go back to the Fab Five when you got Jalen Rose, you got Chris Webber. You got Stacey King. You got Juwan Howard.
Jimmy King.
Right. Jimmy King. Yeah. And you got Juwan Howard. And if they all went to Grambling, if they all went to Penn State, if they all went to wherever, if they all went to USC, they were still going to be NBA basketball players. But they chose to go to Michigan and they changed the game forever. Had they went to Grambling, they still would have been NBA draft guys. They would have changed HBCU athletics forever. I'm just trying to find the next 9 to do that in baseball. I'm going to find them. When I find them, the whole world going to know.
And we're going to leave it at that. and that's a mic drop right there. All right, so parents, help this man out like you said. Give him that time. Go get that 9 out there to start changing this whole world up over here. All right, get him over there to Grambling. All right, you got the emails and everything. Coach, I appreciate you, my brother, so much for coming on. All right. This has been straight fire. This has been, you know, again, you know, one of the best interviews. I know one of the best, you know, engaged interviews I've had. And that's a testament to, you know, you, my brother. Like I said, I've heard a lot of great things, and I'm sure all these parents and stuff have heard the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, keep doing your thing. I definitely will be in contact with you. Parents, Michigan State head coach coming on tomorrow, 4 p.m. Let's keep this ball rolling. D Brown Show, tag this, share this message, share the email that for ball players too. All right, share this man's email for, you know, talented ball players. All right, that still don't know where they want to go, but they got to be talented. All right, hear this man. Don't be giving them slow, you know, bums out here. All right, I'm gonna disrespect nobody's kids. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. All right, so anyway, 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for coming on, Coach Coop. Appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate it, D. Stay safe, man. See you soon.
All right, brother.